The agonizing sight of my 11-year-old daughter sobbing hysterically, her once gorgeous waist-length hair brutally hacked off to her ears, was the exact moment my family signed their own financial death warrant. They believed a humiliating forced haircut at a birthday party would put us in our place and ensure my sister's daughter remained the center of attention. They had absolutely no idea that by sunrise, the multi-million-dollar beauty empire my father spent his entire life building would be completely brought to its knees by my silent legal retaliation. By the time he realized he had destroyed his own future for a petty moment of spite, I was already holding the keys to his complete ruin. My name is Ziri Hayden. For 32 years, my relationship with my family was defined by a quiet, painful endurance. My father, Vance Hayden, was the highly revered founder and CEO of Aura Luxe Cosmetics, a prominent beauty brand dominating high-end retail shelves nationwide. Vance was completely obsessed with superficial beauty, public aesthetics, and his own self-proclaimed legacy. To him, humans were merely marketing assets designed to elevate the Hayden brand. My younger sister, Bianca, was his ultimate masterpiece, deeply manipulative, intensely entitled, and entirely dedicated to social media fame and high society clout. While Bianca was handed executive titles and unlimited spending accounts, I was the designated black sheep of the family. I didn't care about designer labels or country club gossip. I was a quiet, intensely focused scientist, earning my doctorate in organic chemistry and cosmetic formulation. Because I refused to participate in my father's superficial vanity games, I was treated as an ungrateful outsider. While working for Aura Luxe, I was tucked away in a sterile basement laboratory, paid a mediocre salary to develop groundbreaking formulas, while my father and sister took all the public credit, claiming my quiet research lacked any real vision to lead. My true joy in life was my 11-year-old daughter, Maya, a gentle soul who possessed the most magnificent, thick, waist-length natural curls you had ever seen. Everywhere we went, people admired her stunning hair, which quickly became a source of toxic resentment for my sister, Bianca. Bianca's daughter, Chloe, was a child influencer, pushed into modeling. But due to constant bleaching, heat styling, and chemical treatments to fit a specific aesthetic, Chloe's hair was severely damaged, thin, and breaking off at the shoulders. Bianca was bitter that my plain daughter possessed the breathtaking, healthy hair that Chloe could only dream of. Years of passive-aggressive remarks and envious glances built a suffocating tension, but I focused entirely on my own independent career. 2 years ago, I resigned from Aura Luxe and founded Zenith Botanicals. In my private laboratory, I successfully developed and patented a revolutionary bioactive peptide complex called Folly Shield. This compound was a genuine scientific miracle, capable of instantly repairing damaged hair follicles, accelerating growth, and restoring natural luster at a cellular level, making it the absolute holy grail of hair restoration. Meanwhile, Aura Luxe was drowning in massive operational debt due to my father's reckless expansions. Desperate to save his failing beauty empire, he realized he needed a blockbuster product line to salvage his standing with retail distributors. He begged me to license my patented Folly Shield compound for their upcoming flagship launch, Verdant Glass. Wanting to maintain family peace, I agreed to negotiate. My legal team drafted a temporary memorandum of understanding, allowing them to showcase the prototype line at a major retail summit. However, the final, legally binding licensing contract sat on my desk, requiring my active digital signature before the official launch could proceed. The ultimate tragedy of our relationship occurred on a sunny Sunday afternoon at my niece Chloe's 12th birthday party. Held at my father's sprawling luxury estate in Silver Lake Hills, the party was a highly publicized event packed with child influencers, prominent socialites, and the luxury brand executives my father was desperately trying to court for the upcoming product launch. From the moment Maya and I arrived, the atmosphere was thick with hostility. Maya wore a simple cotton dress, her magnificent curls cascading beautifully down her back. Within minutes, several beauty editors and photographers bypassed Chloe to admire Maya's stunning natural hair, asking if she would model for upcoming organic beauty campaigns. Bianca's face twisted into an ugly, venomous mask of rage as she watched the attention drift away from her daughter on her special day. She immediately cornered our father, whispering frantically into his ear while pointing directly at Maya. A few minutes later, my father walked over to Maya with an unnaturally warm smile. He patted her shoulder and told her that as a special birthday treat, he was hosting a private princess makeover session in the estate salon. He looked at me and said, "Zuri, let the girl have some fun. The stylists are just going to give her a beautiful, gentle braid." Maya looked up at me with excitement, her eyes shining as she asked if she could go. Trusting my father's words, I smiled, kissed her forehead, and let her go. It was the greatest mistake of my life. Nearly 45 minutes passed when the heavy glass doors of the salon burst open. A heart-wrenching sob echoed across the quiet manicured lawn. I spun around, my heart dropping into my stomach as I saw Maya running toward me, clutching her head, her face red and swollen from crying. Her magnificent, waist-length natural curls were completely gone. In their place was a brutal, jagged, uneven crop hacked off clumsily above her ears, exposing her neck and leaving her scalp partially visible in some areas. It was a violent act of vandalism, a deliberate attempt to humiliate her in front of the crowd. "Mommy, they cut it all off," Maya wailed, throwing herself into my arms and burying her face in my chest, her tiny frame shaking with uncontrollable sobs. Grandpa told the stylist to cut it because it was too heavy, and Aunt Bianca kept laughing. I held my shattered child close, a cold, dark fury wrapping around my chest. I looked up to see my father and Bianca stepping out of the salon, looking completely unbothered. Bianca smirked, casually sipping her champagne, and sneered, "Oh, stop being so dramatic, Zuri. Now she won't steal the attention. Chloe is the star today, and your daughter looked far too unrefined with those wild curls anyway. We did you a favor." My father agreed, his voice dripping with an insufferable patriarchal authority. "It's a clean, professional look, Zuri. She needed to learn humility. You always let her walk around looking like she's trying to outshine everyone else. In this family, we respect hierarchy." The surrounding guests stood in awkward silence, whispering behind their hands. They expected me to scream or launch into a chaotic scene. But I didn't say a single word. I didn't raise my voice or shed a single tear. I gently wiped Maya's cheeks, held her hand tightly, and walked straight out of the estate. As I drove my sobbing daughter home, the pain in my heart crystallized into a cold, mathematically precise plan of absolute destruction. I realized with absolute certainty that the only way to deal with narcissistic monsters who worship their public image is to completely dismantle the financial pedestal they stand on. Once home, I spent hours comforting Maya, washing her tear-stained face and gently styling what little hair she had left into a clean, confident pixie cut, reminding her that her worth, her beauty, and her brilliant mind could never be stolen by a pair of scissors. When she was safely asleep, I contacted my corporate legal team. "File the emergency injunction," I told my lead attorney, my voice completely flat. "We are revoking Auralux's temporary agreement immediately. File a patent infringement lawsuit and issue a press release detailing the unauthorized use of our intellectual property." Because my father was arrogant, he had already shipped millions of dollars of Verdant Gloss inventory, powered by my patented Foley Shield compound, to major retailers nationwide, including Sephora and Ulta, ahead of the Monday launch. Their packaging and marketing materials prominently featured my patented technology. By midnight, my team officially filed a federal injunction against Auralux for intellectual property theft and patent infringement. We attached proof that Vance Hayden had forged my signature on pre-distribution documents. At exactly 2 a.m., our legal notices were delivered to the executive boards of Sephora, Ulta, and every major distributor slated to launch the line. The notice made it clear that any retailer who proceeded with the sale of Verdant Gloss would be named as a co-defendant in a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. The fallout was instantaneous and catastrophic. By 6 a.m. on Monday, the retail giants held emergency meetings. Fearing legal liability, they canceled the launch, pulled Verdant Gloss from shelves, and sent termination notices to Oralux. Because my father financed the entire production run using high-interest commercial bridge loans that relied on the guaranteed launch revenues, the sudden cancellation triggered an immediate financial default. The banks froze Oralux's corporate accounts, demanding immediate repayment of over $15 million in outstanding debt. At exactly 7:30 a.m., my doorbell began to ring in a frantic, continuous pounding that echoed through my quiet house. I opened the front door and looked down at the broken, disheveled figure on my porch. My father, Vance Hayden, looked like he had aged 20 years overnight. His expensive suit was wrinkled, his hair was disheveled, and his hands shook violently as he clutched a leather folder. The proud, tyrannical patriarch was gone, replaced by a desperate, ruined man begging at my door for mercy. "Zuri, please, you have to listen to me," Vance begged, his voice cracking with sudden, frantic tears as he practically dropped to his knees on my welcome mat. "The retail giants pulled the launch, the banks froze our accounts, and our distributors are threatening to sue us for $20 million. We are completely ruined. I need you to sign the master licensing agreement right now. I'll give you 50% of the company. I'll fire Bianca. Just please save my life's work." I stood perfectly still, looking down at the man who ordered my daughter's hair to be hacked off yesterday, feeling zero pity. I pulled out my phone, looked at a photo of Maya's new pixie cut, and locked eyes with him. "You didn't just cut my daughter's hair yesterday, Vance. You cut off the only hand holding your entire empire above water. I spent years fixing your blunders and enduring your disrespect because I mistakenly believed we were family. But the moment your malice touched my innocent child, you became absolutely nothing to me."
"Zuri, please, we are your blood," he sobbed, reaching out to touch my shoes. I stepped back, completely out of his reach, and closed the door in his face. I locked the bolt, walked back to my kitchen, and poured a warm cup of coffee. As my phone vibrated violently with incoming calls from my father and sister, I opened our family group chat, typed a final message, hit send, and permanently blocked their numbers. It's too late now. The financial and social destruction that swept through the Hayden family was swift. Without the Verdant Gloss launch, Oralux Cosmetics collapsed into bankruptcy within weeks. The commercial banks moved rapidly, seizing my father's luxury estate in Silver Lake Hills, his fleet of expensive vehicles, and the historic corporate headquarters to settle the outstanding debt. Every single asset was systematically liquidated by creditors, leaving Vance Hayden with absolutely nothing but a mountain of litigation and a permanently ruined reputation. Bianca's lavish, superficial lifestyle evaporated into thin air overnight. Chloe's child modeling contracts were abruptly terminated by brands refusing to be associated with a bankrupted family stained by fraud and lawsuits. Without my father's corporate treasury to fund her spending, Bianca was forced to sell her luxury wardrobe, move into a cramped, noisy rental apartment in a rundown part of the city, and take a low-paying retail job just to survive. Her high society friends completely abandoning her. Meanwhile, I took complete, absolute control of the market share left behind by Oralux's collapse. My independent firm Zenith Botanicals launched our own organic hair restoration line, Aura Silk, using my patented Folly Shield compound. The line became an overnight global phenomenon, generating millions in revenue and solidifying my position as a leading visionary in the beauty industry. I relocated Maya and myself to a breathtaking coastal estate surrounded by rolling hills and wild lavender fields, completely insulated from the toxic envy of the people who shared my biological blood. To watch your child heal and walk with an unshakable sense of confidence after being targeted by the people who were supposed to cherish her is the deepest victory a mother can experience. Protecting your peace and your future requires you to understand a deep, unyielding human truth. Never allow the biological connection of family to convince you that you must tolerate calculated cruelty, emotional vandalism, or psychological abuse. The bond of family is a sacred agreement that must be continuously earned through mutual respect, gentleness, and unconditional love. When toxic people try to diminish your strength while standing on the very foundations you built, do not waste your breath trying to convince them of your worth. Simply step back, build your future in absolute secrecy, and let your undeniable success be the ultimate execution of your journey.